Avalanche post-game for the last time in this regular season. We're doing the post-game show brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Jesse, Rudo, Megan, AJ coming to you live as the Avs secure the number 1 seed in the Central Division heading into the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
In a game that was a lot crazier than anyone needed it to be. It didn't have to go like this, but it did, and the Avs ultimately won the thing. So, I'm not going to complain too much about it. I'm not going to be too worried. If you haven't noticed, we have a playoff shirt. Go buy it. Go get it. Go get ready. Series starts Tuesday, so you've got like 3 days to get in on this shirt and be ready to rock. For tonight, I guess we'll start with a 60-second rundown. Devon Toews scored the first goal of the game on some straight nonsense that just goes in the net. Avs up 1-0. Then the majority of the rest of the first period was Nathan MacKinnon announcing to the world that he'd adopted the Nashville Predators. He scores 2 goals in the first period. The Avs do give one of those back. Probably wasn't a great goal. I'm sure we'll talk about it. It's 3-1 after the first. Then the Avs just don't show up for the first 10 minutes of the second period. Straight up snooze through it, and it was 3-3 before you knew it. That was the whole second was just not good from Colorado. You wanted more there. The third period was 18 minutes of really, I think, the Avs being the better team, even if they weren't getting the chances. And then Nathan MacKinnon actually signing the documentation that he adopted the Nashville Predators. And he gets a hat trick to force the Avs by his own willpower alone into the number 1 spot in the Central Division. I don't know, man. Nathan MacKinnon's just built different. That's mostly what happened here tonight. But let's go back. Let's go through the first period. First of all, shots ended up being what, 18-4, 18-3, something like that.
I think it's like 18-5.
5 even. Oh, the horror. Avs only tripled them up in shots.
4.
Okay, so truly exactly what you wanted to see out of Colorado in this first period. Domination all the way around. Are you guys thinking about the first goal of this game at all? Is there even like, hey, good play, or is it just, yeah, that's a ridiculous puck bounce that goes in the net for you?
Got lucky.
Okay.
It's fine.
Sure.
Like, you throw a puck at the net, it hits the stick, bounces in. Cool.
Nothing fancy to it.
Yep.
Devon Toews will take it, I'm sure. It's, goals are hard to come by in the NHL. No doubt about it.
Especially that guy who can't score a real one.
And has accidentally redirected goals against. It was neutralizing to have him get this one.
There you go. Fair is fair. You get through the rest of this period. I obviously they get a goal scored on them. You don't love that, but besides that, it's just all positive from the first, right? Is there anything beyond the goal that you're like, boy, the Avs needed to do that better? No?
No, man.
Okay, fair enough. I'm here with that. I'm mostly just buying time until our King of the Graphic game is ready right now, because this is what there is to talk about in this hockey game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Nathan MacKinnon night, and
there you go.
I mean, this is the difference here between, now you look ahead and you say, all right, well, why are the Avs where they are? How did the Avs survive 60 man games lost this year and still win the Central Division when you're talking about the Dallas Stars had 80 man games lost?
Yep.
And had a 14-point lead on the Avalanche at one point in the division this year. How does that happen? How do you blow that? And the answer is that Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Cale Makar, those guys are just better. And tonight, when they had to have it, I mean, you look at how Dallas finished, blowing out St. Louis. Jason Robertson has a great game. Joe Pavelski has a great game. Then they get the 1-0 win last night. Like, they finished strong on the back of their best players. The Avs said the same. Because, I mean, Nathan MacKinnon just went off.
It wasn't just Nathan MacKinnon going off. It was the way that he played this game.
Yeah.
Was at every turn he was like, nope, we're not losing. I will do whatever it is that I have to do by myself if I have to. Gonna win this game.
If he doesn't finish as a Hart Trophy finalist, it's a shame. Yeah. It will be an underappreciated season.
Yep, 100% agree on that. It's what were the final number? 42 goals, 69 assists.
Yep.
For 111 points. That's a ridiculous season. Like, there are years where that wins the Art Ross. Like,
you don't want to waste a 111 point season from Nathan MacKinnon. I think, too, this isn't a quality in him that is only present this time of year. I think he has the ability to change the course of games at any point. But you see the importance of Nathan MacKinnon stepping up because looking at that Anaheim game, you just sort of felt a confidence with him on the ice that he was going to be able to force that game out of regulation when they really didn't deserve to. And you look at this game, too, and it's similar in that they're not always playing, especially in that second period, like they deserve to win this game, but Nathan MacKinnon single-handedly forces that to be a reality. And there are other players alongside him that help, but Nathan MacKinnon, this is the perfect time of year for this quality to really emerge, and the superstar Nathan MacKinnon that we're seeing couldn't come at a better time.
It's not just right now. Obviously, we've talked before about how amazing he's been since January, but I think tonight you got a little bit of taste of, this is what the Avs have in the tank for the playoffs.
This is what he specifically has in the tank for the playoffs because, we've been talking about he's been playing at a right around 150-point pace since January 1st. And, like, the season that Connor McDavid obviously had is, like, unbelievable. Yeah. Right? Worthy of, he's going to
win the Hart for sure.
He's the runaway Hart Trophy winner, but when Megan says you don't want to waste this kind of season, you're having a season that a guy who is probably headed to the Hall of Fame someday is playing the best he has ever played. You sure want to see what that next level looks like in the postseason. Because if there's another level there, sorry, Seattle. It's a really rude way to welcome you into the NHL postseason.
It's going to be a tough series if there's another level.
Yeah.
Might be a tough series anyway, but we'll see how it all plays out exactly. I do want to not overlook the rest of the team in this first period, though, because, yes, Nathan MacKinnon is the one making the fantastic plays, executing and scoring the goals, but you don't get to 19 shots in a period from Nathan MacKinnon alone. That's an entire team pushing the play the right direction in a game where, they should just be better than Nashville. In that first period, they just were. Every line, getting in there, doing what they need to do, and not scoring, but dominating possession of the puck at the very least. Megan, I wanted to ask you on this one because I kind of already know how AJ feels about it. We've seen some of these goals against Georgiev. Short side, at times from distance. Is there a little bit of a repetition here? Is there some concern heading into the playoffs that Georgiev has given up a few too many of these? Or do you think he's going to be rock solid come game one?
I feel like the pattern has been goals that you feel like he should make saves on, but they haven't been so similar that it's one singular weak side in his game, because sometimes they're up high, sometimes they are just from that right circle. And for that reason, it's not that I have a defense of the goals against in this game. Like, I think they were not great goals to allow. But more specifically, I also just think this is not a good night for Alexander Georgiev. He has proven over more stretches that he is consistently good and has fewer nights like this where these goals that are just not great ones that you expect the saves in, they're happening far more infrequently compared to consistent play from Georgiev. And I think what makes me confident he's more so in the rock-solid Game 1 category is his ability to make impressive athletic saves when they're necessary. I don't love to see that sometimes the goals allowed are ones that feel a little easier to make that save on, but where I see him coming up big is in important moments, he's established trust with me personally as a viewer in those important moments that I don't have reason to doubt that he's going to be rock solid game one. It's a second leg of a back-to-back. They decided to ride Georgiev in a second night. I think that speaks to the level of trust that they have in him as well.
So, sorry, I just wanted to interject on Georgiev. So we talked about this just recently, that to me, he's got, in games like this, he's got shades of Semyon Varlamov where he'll give some up and you're like, wow, I don't like that. And then he makes a massive save in the third period going post to post. Wide open on the back door. He makes a huge stop. That's the kind of stuff that if you're going to give up the cheapies, you have to get them back later. And Georgiev, to your point, Megan, has established you'd love to go without the cheapies. But when you give that up and you're still in the game, cool. It's a tied game. That goal doesn't matter anymore. Make the next one.
That's the big key for me.
It goes from a bad night to a really scrappy night.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he had to battle in the third period. He had to come up with some big time saves. He had to be there for them in that third period at times. And you definitely don't want to give up the cheapies. Like, you don't love that. Those are not great goals. But, you know, we talk about this with Pavel Francouz a lot. Look, if the ones that you give up aren't great, but you only give up 2 or 3 of them, you've kept your team in it.
Yeah.
You've ultimately done your job as the goalie in that game. And when it got to 3-3, he locked it down. Like, he does what he has to do from that point on. And the team in front of him just does enough.
Well, and
Nate
look,
just does enough.
we'll talk about the second period and the issues that involved that. But at the end of this game, the Avs never trailed. The Avs were never in jeopardy of, they could lose this game. They were ahead or tied at worst for the entire thing, for as bad as some of the stretches of the game were. And Georgiev is a big part of that. Even if the workload wasn't huge tonight, he ultimately made the saves he needed to make. So,
Give Nashville credit too. Like, as much as
they could have packed up and gone home in that second period, for sure.
And I apologize if you guys already talked about this. I was getting stuff squared away. That as bad as that second period felt and was for the Avs, you got to give a young, I think scrappy's a good word, Nashville team some credit there that they took advantage of the fact that, to me, it looked like the Avs kind of thought they were going to lay down, and they took it to him. And so, Georgiev went from kind of standing there watching for 20 minutes to being under a little bit of siege. And again, he righted the ship when necessary.
Yeah.
Is that Tyson Berry on the ice for that goal?
It probably was.
Dude,
that kind of hurts a little.
I love Tyson Berry so much.
That kind of hurts a little. That makes me sad.
All around good dude,
Yeah.
Just a good guy, for
I've
sure.
heard wonderful things about him.
He was one that at the deadline when he went to Nashville, I was like, I wouldn't hate this. Obviously, we now know that EJ was coming back, but I was like, I wouldn't be pissed at that if that was the move. Just because I love Tyson Berry.
From that front, would love it. From fit, I'm not so sure.
Oh, 100%.
That they needed met.
Just for the vibes, yeah.
Anyway, you guys got us to 100 likes. We appreciate that very much. So it's for the last time this regular season.
Aww.
It's Dr. Dubs time. Hopefully many more Dr. Dubs times in the playoffs.
She's doing it with us too.
Well, hopefully 16 more times in the playoffs. Cheers. Cheers. No cheers to Jesse because he doesn't.
See, but at this point, it's just like, that's just like part of it, right?
Sure.
It'd be bad luck at this point for me to start taking them.
Don't start this.
See? Oh, fuck. Oh, I was like, see,
Sorry,
you got it. You got it.
Jesse would have believed it. On that note, we are brought to you by the fantastic people over at Pins and Aces. They got all sorts of amazing golf apparel merch for you. We actually just got our merch in.
Mine got delivered today.
Nice.
I obviously didn't even get the package yet.
It's sitting at home.
Yeah, it's sitting at home in its wrapping.
But they got tons of different merch. It's all pretty dope, to be honest with you. I forget what it's called, but I really like the shirt I got.
Wait, your stuff already got delivered?
Yeah, mine's been here for like 2 days.
Damn.
You live in the vortex,
Check
I
the
guess,
mail.
Jesse. Yeah.
Well, I just also haven't been looking.
Just don't check the mail. It's
Well,
just
did it come
mailbox.
in the mail or did it come to your door?
It came to my door.
Oh, okay. I also think I ordered a day or two after. I ordered the same day you did. Have you gotten your stuff?
No.
Okay,
Are you
all right.
gonna be matching?
Huh?
You're gonna be matching?
What?
No, we ordered on the same. We ordered on the same day. Yeah, no,
Okay,
not the
sorry.
same stuff.
That'd be hilarious
I don't know, what did you
if they
get?
were matching.
Nothing for my head. So
Anyway, go get yourself some pins and aces at pinsandaces.com. Use the DNVR code to get 15% off and free shipping. Their apparel's actually dope. Like, it's not like you have to be on the golf course to wear it. You can just wear a nice collared shirt or a nice hat. They have t-shirts. They got pants. I don't
Pants.
what I don't know anything about pants fashion. Like,
I thought you were gonna stop it. I don't know anything about pants. I was like, let's just move on.
We can anyway.
pinsandaces.com. Also, there are a couple of defenders in Nashville that probably need to call Bacchus and Shanker about Nathan MacKinnon. Because boy, did he blow up some tires in that building tonight. So call 222-2222 today. If you've been injured in a car accident, even if it's like if you're Eric and you're on a scooter and someone runs into you, if it's a rideshare situation, they've got you covered. They will get you what you deserve. They'll give you a consultation completely for free when you dial the 2 number. If they think you have a case, they'll take it on completely for free. So it costs you nothing until you win your case. And then you're just getting what you earned anyway. So go with Bacchus and Shanker. They've been doing it for 25 years. They've won over $1 billion over that time. So they do a lot of winning when it comes to getting people their money. Check them out or go to coloradolaw.net to get a hold of them today. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast.
No, it's
You good?
genuine throat clear. Sorry.
Okay. Brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Second period was bad. I don't think there's any two ways around that for Colorado. They kind of just did not do very much in the first 10 minutes of this period.
No, look, to me, this second period summed up the Avs dominated in the first. They got out to a lead, and they
Coasted.
thought,
They
and
coasted.
I get why, they thought Nashville was just going to roll over and cool, we'll bury a couple more and we'll kind of coast through the rest of this.
Mazel tov.
That's not what happened, but
It is
can we
not.
can we just skip the second period and get some Jack Johnson appreciation chat going?
I'm down for Jack Johnson appreciation chat.
He was great tonight. I thought he was really good
an
tonight.
Interesting point too. In the second period, when there were just 6 minutes remaining, like just over 6 minutes, only 2 Avs players registered a shot on net through that amount of time. And I want you to guess who they are.
Well, I'm assuming Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson's one of them. Okay.
All right, low hanging fruit, Jack Johnson.
The other one, no clue.
Give me the time frame again.
With only 6 minutes remaining. So
In the second.
In the second. So
Because I remember the Jack
14-ish
Johnson
minutes.
one.
I honestly didn't see the
Was it
shot.
Newhook?
No. Close.
Myers?
No.
Is it LLC?
No, it's Lars Eller. I'll just say it.
We're about to guess the whole line.
So basically, 14 minutes in second period, only Jack Johnson, Lars Eller get a shot through.
Wow, I don't remember
That's
the
just
Lars
kind
Eller
of a
one.
reflection of how that period went.
Well, and so I'll frame it two ways. One, you just watched them put 19 shots up in the first period, so you know you're capable of better. Colorado is capable of better than that.
Definitely.
The other side of it is we've seen this happen in a handful of games. I don't think you're expecting things like this to happen in the playoffs. I'm certainly not. But is there an expectation in that locker room that they're like, hey, it's playoff time now. No more doing this.
I've been saying this for 6 weeks now. Like I genuinely do believe we've seen them do it, right? The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. For 5 straight years now, or whatever it's been, 6, the Avs have shown round 1, game 1, they dial it up 7 levels. Doesn't matter how they finish the season. Doesn't matter what the last game looked like. Doesn't matter any of that stuff. They get in round 1, game 1, and there just is a different level. And that's what I think, because we've all kind of joked about it over the years, the overvaluation of playoff experience and all that stuff. That I do think is one of those things where, Tampa's a great example. How many years can they limp into the playoffs?
On the flip
and then,
side of it, though, is a team like New Jersey that you don't trust because they haven't
They've
been
not
there,
been
right?
there. Yeah.
Exactly.
But this is the Avs are now on as they were building that experience. We would watch them figure out that switch, and then we saw last year the Avs figured it out. They're very comfortable with it. This is the same group of guys. They're very comfortable with it. It was more like, can they keep the switch on enough to get what they wanted to tonight? And then there will definitely be another level next week. Like, I'm not even...
So zero concern.
It's almost more of like
not even a little bit.
For me, when in the playoffs, it's not even that they take it up to another level. They don't fall back below a certain level.
I would say that's more accurate.
Because like we've seen them, like Nate tonight, like that was playoff Nate. And in the playoffs, I just feel like he doesn't typically, obviously things are nothing set in stone. Typically he doesn't dip below that level. It's like, cool, this is the new baseline. And then they go from there.
Yeah, and somebody in chat saying it's a good win when I'm not mad about something. Look, this was a bottom line game. I don't give a shit about the process. You had a job. You had to get 2 points.
You got there.
I don't care what it looked like. I don't care that they blew a lead. I don't care that they did whatever. None of it matters.
Do you remember last year's pods at this time of year where Blaze was saying, I have some concerns, and it was a little bit of a joke? This second period was so last year coded in terms of not feeling great, not their best effort at all. But the reason I have confidence in them moving forward is because of the response in the third period. Not only did the Avs ramp it up, but they forced this Nashville team to apply necessary pressure just to stay in this game. It was pretty good exchange back and forth in the third, but if not for the Avs having that response, they don't win this game. And I think that response is very encouraging.
It's especially a good point because towards the end of that third period, you could feel Nashville's desperation ramping up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what caused the game-winning goal?
So
What is it? It's a bad pinch that turns into a 2-on-1 the other way because Nashville's pressing.
did you guys hear what I said literally right as that play turned up ice? I said, this game picked a really weird time to just get chaotic.
bananas.
Like, just like, there's a weird time in this game for both teams to just like send it. And then, to your point, as soon as those words came out of my mouth, a puck squirts loose, and it's like, 2-on-1. The two best players on the team are heading up ice, and
Against Tyson Berry.
right.
You're like, if I could have picked a guy to try and defend this, that's the one. Sorry, Tice.
And it's like, obviously the Avs got it done in the end with MacKinnon, but I do want to give credit to that third period.
Yeah.
They were pretty handily the better team through the majority of that period, even if it took 18 minutes to get a puck to go in the net.
Because it was a physically imposing period from Nashville, too. It was kind of punishing in ways. And because of how this game had been officiated through that point, we were talking about how they just weren't going to get another call. Avs had to absorb just a lot of it. They just had to take that contact on. And so it wasn't an easy feat.
Nope. It's never free in the NHL.
It was frustrating. I mean, we're giving them this credit, but they have 2 power play opportunities.
You'd like
at
to
the
see
start
him
of the
finish
third.
one, absolutely.
Come pretty close to each other. Like, you really would like to be like, hey, we got that goal with 14 minutes to play, and then locked it down from there and moved on. But they just didn't.
Power play wasn't good tonight.
You can't always get what you want.
Megan, is that last one?
Okay, you guys, I talked to the Cornell coach literally today
There you go.
about Steinberg and Walensky. I'm really excited.
Now they're
You can't
fighting
stop scoring
dudes.
for the Eagles.
And the things his coach has to say about him sounds like the kindest human being ever.
The day that they signed him, I got a reply. It was the Andy from The Office. Like, I went to a little school called Cornell. Ever heard of it? And that's all I can think of now anytime I see his name.
Anyway, sticking with this game.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Colorado, AJ, I think you kind of put it well. It just didn't matter how they got it done if they got it done, right? The 2 points that would get them the top of the Central were on the line, and you went into this game not caring if they won it 7-0, 8-9. I guess you would lose if you did that. They would have cared then. 8-7. The 2 points were all that mattered.
Yep. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if you needed a 17-round shootout with Jack Johnson scoring the winner. It just wouldn't have mattered. You don't care. You came in for 2 points, you walked out with 2 points. And now the focus shifts. You go from managing what it's like to win in the regular season where your goals are different, your opponents are different, you're on the road, you're playing with a different schedule every week, and you get into that postseason rhythm, playing the same team, you're game planning, you're hating the same dude every night, you're matched up against the same guys, your competitiveness goes up, your engagement goes up, Your commitment to every level of the game goes up, and you get best on best. It's the best. It's why Stanley Cup playoffs is the best postseason in all of pro sports, and certainly all of team sports. Is that you get to see best on best.
Yep.
And you're going to get to see the best that the Seattle Kraken have to offer, and they're damn sure going to get to see the best the Colorado Avalanche have to offer. And walking into that series, you don't care about process right now. You don't care about how they got to where they are. All the different, why can't they keep this lead, and why can't they just blow this team out, and they're not winning by enough, and they're not playing the game that I want. None of it matters. None of it matters. It's a blank slate immediately. You turn the page. It's over. You've won the division. You have your opponent. Seattle will be here in a couple of days. So the video work starts tonight.
Tonight, probably on the plane. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the
I guarantee you the coaching staff already has video packages
Side by side for
of Seattle.
Highbrook.
Yeah, they'd already started split work.
right Minnesota.
They already have Seattle packages ready to go where they're like, all right, Jared McCann then.
Right.
Got it.
Stop him. You probably win.
Stop him.
What you were just talking about, AJ, about turning the page and it doesn't matter anymore. I do want to just stop and point out for a second. Do you maybe want to do reads? Do you have other reads to do here?
Make this point and then I'll do them.
Well, so this has been a brutal season. Like just in terms of
460 man games lost.
right. In terms of what all they'd gone through, the short summer leading into the uncertainty around injuries, and then the injuries getting extended out longer than they thought. And then, seriously, I would love to go back and check this, but it felt like every night they got a guy back, they lost two. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't two, you at least lost one. Yep. And we made the comment a few weeks ago about they've overcome a lot of adversity, and when do they get just to settle in? I don't know if we have stopped and given this team enough credit for everything that happened. Coming down the stretch here, they had their destiny in their own hands as of like 2 weeks ago, and they had to play it perfectly to keep that, and they did.
Their only misstep is a overtime loss at Edmonton, and that did not cost them.
Right, I was going to say, and even that, you walked away from it going, well, we would have liked to, but we did our job. Like, we got what we needed. And it's just so beyond impressive to me. Everything that they've been through, everything they've battled through, every time they had a reason. Like, look at what Minnesota did last week. They outright said, hey, we're fine. We're fine rolling the dice. We're comfortable where we're at. Whatever happens, happens. And this Avs group wasn't. They pushed and they pushed and they pushed. And even on a night like tonight, we made the comment in the third period. It said, God, it feels like the Avs are skating uphill in this game. Even when they got back to their game, just pucks were bouncing. They were missing passes just a step too far. Nothing for a single second in this 82-game season for the Avs came easy. Yep. And when the dust settled, they're at the top of the Central Division again. No Landeskog, no Manson, no Makar. It's unbelievably impressive, and I just can't stop.
Those three guys that you just named miss more games than the entire Dallas Stars roster this year.
Right, right.
Just to go through a couple of these numbers. Bowen Byram misses 39 games.
Half the season.
Val Nichushkin misses 29 games. Eric Johnson misses 18 games. Cale Makar misses 22 games. Evan Rodriguez, 14 games. Arturi Lehkonen, 17 games. Nathan MacKinnon, 11 games.
Keep in mind that the NHL team, average NHL team, plays about 13 to 14 games per month, roughly.
Yeah.
So when you talk about 17 games, it doesn't sound like out of 82. You're like, oh, it's not them. All those guys missing a month. Some of those guys at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of those guys at the same time.
Some of those injuries overlapped. Some of those guys had multiple injuries.
Yep.
Josh Manson came back, played great for like 4 games, and got hurt again.
And that's not even mentioning some of the lesser players like Josh Manson.
The fact that Darren Helm has been nowhere all year.
Or the fact that Landy has not suited up for a game.
Yeah.
And like, look, I'm not trying to like, sit here and like
Francouz is a really good one too, because that puts all the pressure on Georgiev.
100%.
It forces them to go with Jonas Johansson on back-to-backs on a couple of road trips. he does a great job for them.
Right. And like I said,
you could look at Jonas Johansson and say they win the division in part because of him.
I don't want to like sit here and be swooning and all that stuff. Like, you hope that this is where they would end up, but when you add in all of the context of the season, holy smokes, was this impressive. And then for Nathan MacKinnon to come in tonight and literally just say, cool guys, you guys we got here collectively, I'll get us there. Like, I'll get us across this finish line, and then let's go into next week and start this again. But I mentioned it, I think, on a show last week or 2 weeks ago. I had someone on the team tell me, on one hand, this season has felt like a blur. On the other, it feels like we've played 500 games.
Yep.
This has been a slog for this Avalanche team coming off of a Stanley Cup championship.
It
and
really can't be overstated, the lack of time off either between winning the Cup, the roster turnover that took place, and then the start of training camp.
Gives you some appreciation for Tampa Bay.
Well, not really, because they did it differently.
Well,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I want to get into that conversation.
The quick turnaround. Either way, it's just like this is. It's impressive that when dust clears, they're at the top of the Central and they get a wild card matchup in round one.
Kick it at the top with their Shady Rays on.
Right.
Nice. All right. Head on over to shadyrays.com. Make sure you're looking good. You can get the sunglasses over there, all sorts of different kinds. Don't ask me to name sunglasses. I don't know what the styles are. They got aviators. That's the one I can name. They got a bunch of other cool ones. But the coolest part is with them, when you buy sunglasses, first of all, with code DNVR, if you buy 2 pairs, you get 50% off. And then if one breaks in the first 30 days, send it back. They'll replace it. If you don't like it, send it back. You can switch them out or get refunded. If you lose them, let them know. They'll send you a new pair. They got you covered for 30 days. That's a pretty great deal. This also, like, if you're not a sunglasses person, sunglasses, people sit on them all the time. They get left places all the time.
Yep.
It's one of the most lost items ever. So it's awesome that Shady Rays has you covered there. Use the DNVR code. You can go online to shadyrays.com. Or if you're local, they have a brick and mortar in the Park Meadows Mall. Also brought to you by FOCO. You're popping off about Mac? Go buy a bobblehead from FOCO. You can jiggle his head every time he scores a goal. You know, I know people want to come up with superstitions at the start of the playoffs. There's a new one for you. You can check them out. They got tons of licensed apparel from all of the professional teams, not just hockey, but a little bit of everything. So go check them out. See all the good stuff. You can use code DNVR for 10% off with them. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. And Jesse, I think part of what you were getting at the end of that period was this. For years, Tampa has been the team where situation doesn't matter. Backs against the wall doesn't matter. You're never betting against those guys. That's Colorado now.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no situation where I'm like, I don't know. It's like, no, it's Colorado.
We talked about the ramping it up in the playoffs or whatever you want to call it. And that's something that really struck me about Tampa last year, specifically in the first round and then the Eastern Conference Finals, where backs against the wall, like, it looked like they were down and out, and it was like, oh, here we go. The back-to-back champs are tapping out, and they just wouldn't die. Like, you just couldn't get them to stay on the mat, and that's how the Avs have felt all year to me. I know people haven't liked it as much. It wasn't as pretty. There were ugly games.
This season was not nearly as fun as last year.
Right.
It was never going to be.
But,
it was always going to be harder.
But they never stayed down on the mat. They never felt sorry for themselves. And they never played oh man, we're just, we're injured. And I had Andrew Cogliano tell me 2 weeks ago, he's like, I'm done talking about the injuries. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I'm done. We're at where we're at. We clinched the playoff spot. It doesn't matter. Like, they just refuse to stay down. And it's incredibly impressive because, AJ, I think back all the time to when you and I were driving to that media school or all those bars around town talking about the 48-point Avs. And it just felt like they never got up from the mat. And now being able to be around this team now 2 years in a row, like, you do just have an appreciation, not even for sports, but just to be around a group that carries themselves like this, that is composed and are like true professionals. They finish games and you see all 20 guys walking across to the weight room across the hall. It's just, they are committed. I think you nailed it, Ruda, where it's just like the Avs are in that category now. We're like, they're not going to win the Stanley Cup every year, but you're not betting against them.
You don't know that?
Ever. I don't know that.
They
you are
haven't
correct.
lost the Stanley Cup yet. So,
But like, yeah, you know, you're just
To build off this, though, and drive home what a special group it is that should be properly appreciated, you look how hard it is to build a talented hockey team in the NHL. You look at teams like Detroit and Ottawa that, hey, we've picked high a number of years. Now we're spending a bunch of money to try and make the postseason again. Now we're trying to do all this. You look at a team like the Winnipeg Jets, right? Z, if you're listening, stop. I'm sorry. But you look at the Winnipeg Jets, and you look at all the talent they've amassed over the years, how good that forward core is, the fact that they have gotten one of the best goalies of this generation out of a 5th-round pick, right? They got all these things, and then you turn around and you look at the culture, and you look at how their culture has single-handedly sunk this, what should have been a golden era of Jets hockey, and how the exact opposite is what has taken place in Colorado, where the culture has elevated the talent and has insulated the talent and pushed it to a better place, to a higher plane. And the difference that makes is when things went sideways in Winnipeg this year, they got comfortable with it going sideways because they knew that world. And when we talked about the big fault, the big down point of this year was after the Chicago loss. They lose 3-2 in Chicago. And we talked on this show. They can choose. The choice is theirs. This can be rock bottom and a springboard to the rest of the year, or they can let this get worse. And that culture and that accountability and the way that this group respects itself and respects the game and respects the process of every single day. You have to have the right mindset and the right approach. Pick themselves up and chased down the division and won the damn thing.
with no Gabe Landeskog, the leader in that room.
Without their captain. We talk about the way that MacKinnon is like the engine of the Avalanche, and Gabe Landeskog is their soul.
Yeah.
And they do that without Gabe Landeskog. You cannot underestimate how important he is to the Avalanche, and to not have him for 82 games and to win the division.
It's starting
everybody out west done gone fuck this up.
It's starting
You
to
had
pop
your
up.
chance. They were down bad, and they dropped this ball hard.
Starting to pop up in the chat here, and we haven't talked about it, and we have a show tomorrow that we maybe dive more into
probably
this.
get into it.
Jared Bednar.
What
Relative
an
to
animal.
everything that you are just talking about, holy smokes,
Where
you have
does
to
that
give
come from?
that man a ton of credit for what he did with this group this year and help getting them there. Again, Megan, we talked to a lot of players about Jared during the kind of the point in the season that AJ's talking about. And I remember just being not taken back, but surprised at how they said, no, he's not like really the coach. He's a leader. Like, he's a leader in the room. He's one of the boys. He comes in here and he gives us shit. And, you know, I don't know if we ever talked about it, but, you know, Nate's telling us, like, we'll come in here and we'll find him digging around guys' stalls for chew and pouches and, you know, stuff like that. And he's like, you know, he's one of the guys, but he's a leader more than he is a coach. And it just, like, the way that Jared Bednar fits into that locker room is indicative of the culture that they've built. And it all starts there. And it's just the fact that they're here in the season and 82 games are done. It's just a lot to be impressed with.
And what makes them dangerous in a best of 7 is that you have to put the Avs down and then keep them there. Mm-hmm. And that's what we've talked about with this year, is that it has been such a struggle. All that adversity, 6 months that they have spent crawling through broken glass. That is this regular season.
The Avs are like a zombie. They just keep getting back up.
It is all going to serve them in the postseason, because the first time that they get punched in the mouth in the playoffs and lose a game, that is not going to be a team that panics and looks itself in the mirror and has a hard conversation. And none of that is going to take place.
That's going to be a team that goes, another Tuesday, huh?
Those guys are going to wake up the next day and they're going to go to practice and they're just going to get back to work. They're just going to say, all right, hey, you beat us. Cool. Can you do it 3 more times? Can you do it 2 more times? Can you do it with all the pressure of closing us, the defending champs, out? Because for me, I don't think there's any pressure on the Avalanche this year. They have no pressure. Nobody expects them to repeat, especially with the Landeskog news. Nobody looks at them and says, oh, God, it's Colorado. Like, nobody looks at them the way that they looked at them last year. Like, ooh, these guys are scary. Mm-hmm. There's a respect there, but they, for the first time in a year, can play the underdog card.
Well, and Megan, I want your opinion on this because you were there the other night against Edmonton, right? And we go into the room, and again, this is just the part to me that's so interesting. It's the way that the players handle it, and how it's a serious mood. And then Jared Bednar's kind of like the chaser, right? Where he's like, no, I can step back and appreciate things. So it's just, from your perspective, being around them this year, relative to what AJ's saying, this does not feel to me like a group that's going to get down and stay there.
No, their lowest points were moments of frustration, not panic. And I think that's
Great.
how you never counted them out. If you were able to see the way they responded to losses, it's because they knew they were capable of better. And it was explored in different ways. Like the way that Cogliano would react to a loss was different than the way that Nathan MacKinnon would. MacKinnon comes up huge in advocating for when his team does play well, even in difficult moments. And then there are guys who take ownership too of some of the shortcomings as well. But the accountability has been there throughout the course of this season. And I think the lack of panic is why it was hard to ever rule them out.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Plenty more. I think we'll talk about Bednar tomorrow sometime, probably. But for tonight, we can get to these super chats. Quite a few of you in the chat tonight. We appreciate all y'all. Miss Truly with $5 says, in the second period, my boyfriend said they're going to lose. And I said, nah, MacKinnon won't let that happen. He's going to get mad. I don't know if he even got mad tonight, to be honest. He was just like, he had made up his mind that the Avs were going to win the game. And then Nathan MacKinnon won the game.
Yeah.
Kids just built different. Thank you.
If I'm anybody in the West, I watched that today, and I'm shaking in my boots a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, because Josh Manson and Cale Makar are there. They're ready to go game one. They just won out at the end of the year without those guys. They chose to have Cale Makar just sitting there watching those games, and they won the division anyway.
Yep. Didn't matter. Thank you for the 5. Next, we have
luck.
Stefan. Sorry about getting your name wrong the other night, by the way. I got it right today. I'd just like to say you guys rocked it this season. I'm pumped for playoff pods. This team was hard to watch compared to last year. Still div champs. It's such a high bar. They won their division and they were tough to watch this year.
Here's a part that's crazy. So is it 52 that they finished with, or 51? 52 wins, right?
Oh, I'd have to check.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm almost positive it's 52. 51. Damn. 51 wins. And we just said it. This was not as much fun as last year. Said it was hard to watch. They came up 6 wins short of last year's team.
Not bad. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Thank you, Stefan. Greg with $12 says, $12 for 12 division championships. Time to smoke the crack.
Okay, all right. Kraken. I was like, what a weird, interesting way to celebrate.
Thank you very much. $2 from Vaguely Sober, who just gives us a heart. Appreciate it.
I am hyped for the Avs get to be part of the first ever playoff games in Seattle.
That's what I was telling Tiff during the games. I was like, it'd be cool to be part of their history and then put them down.
We're the team that gets to say, you were just happy to be here.
Yeah.
You want to make it like that Jets-Ducks series from their first year back, where like it was sick, electric in Winnipeg, and they got swept. Like 4 great games.
Yeah, like 3 overtime games.
Yeah, 4 fantastic games.
$10 from the Schick, who says, miss me with this concern for Georgiev. I wasn't happy with his performance tonight, but he's going to be fine. I'm so pumped for Tuesday. LFG Avs, do it for Gabe.
Roughly a top 5 goaltender this year.
Yep. Certainly in the conversation. $10 from Banks, who says, yes, sir, I had faith in the Avs in January, and I won $250 for that faith tonight. Division champs, give me that Berkey-less, I think, yeah. And no goaltender Kraken. Avs about to eat Kraken soup. Yep. And then he gave us another 5, saying also another one just to let y'all know how much I appreciate all you do to cover the team. Love y'all. Can't wait for playoff coverage. Appreciate it, Banks. I know you're a regular on our super chat list, so it means a lot. $5 from Kyron, who says, appreciate the free content all year. Bittersweet sending Gruby home in round 1. Happy McCarr and Manson will be back. That's not that bitter to me. I will put it that way. $5 from Zach, who says, Nate Dogg, no cap, on God, for real, bussin'. He secured that bag.
You're the worst. You're the worst.
Bet.
You know what I think about, too, is how I know Jared Bednar has seen that photo of him with the hair.
The curly hair.
I don't have it confirmed, but I just know in my heart. He has seen that, has no context for why, and has to just keep scrolling.
Live his life knowing that that's out in the world. $20 from Grant, who says, what a game and what a regular season given all the adversity. See you guys at the bar for all of the road games again this season. We'll be here. We'll be here for all the home games too. Well, some of us will be anyway. $10 from Logan, who says, this season has been a slog, but the Avs got home ice for 2 rounds, so I can't complain a lot. Now it's the fun part of the season. If this is regular season Nate, playoff Nate is going to kill someone. I mean, let's not
murder anybody.
He doesn't need to go to prison. Yeah. Just take their ankles, that's all. $20 from Ryan, who says, for amazing coaching staff, finding players. I keep reading it from the right bar as you delete it, and then I have to switch. Finding players is one thing, but to make them fit like a puzzle is something else. Enjoy Slay number 2. I don't understand the last part, but thank you. $20 from the incredible Drew, who says, proud of the boys making it through the 82 and winning the division through everything. Appreciate you guys and everyone behind the scenes for all your work throughout the year. Now the real games begin. Thank you very much, Drew.
See, if they used our tiebreaker format, the Avs would have finished second in the West.
They should anyway, just because they won their division.
They should anyways, huh?
And then extremely generous $50 from Jacob, who says, just bought 3 shirts. Thank you guys for another great regular season. So excited for the playoffs. We appreciate that a ton. And then another 50 from CO Dave, who says, love the show all season from Minnesota. Thanks for 82 great games. Cheers to 16 more W's. Appreciate it. And then $5 from Eric that says, this season was a success no matter the ending. They put the league on notice for next season.
I felt like the Stanley Cup did that.
Yeah.
Like, the league is on notice while these guys are here.
I will say, though, I get what they mean in terms of, like,
Oh, yeah.
we don't have all of our guys and we'll still beat you.
Yeah, either next year they get Landeskog back or they've got $7 million to spend on somebody to replace them.
And
good luck.
A bunch of trade chips that they held on to at the deadline.
Interesting. I do want to throw it out there. I'm sure we'll throw it out there whenever the playoffs do end as well. But all of us appreciate all of y'all in the chat. Or if you're watching this at home, or if you're listening to this on the podcast on your way into work tomorrow, we wouldn't be able to do what we get to do without all of you. So we appreciate every single one of you who's out here lurking in the chat, or if you're commenting, or, you know, even if you're a fan of another team and you're just hanging out.
Nightly thumbs downer.
Yeah, even you.
Every post game show and gives us the thumbs down. We love you too.
It's incredible. It's
Evan.
The fact that I get to wake up every day and
so
do
funny.
this job, I still don't believe it most days. So I do want to express my appreciation to all of you guys being with us for this ride, thick or thin. It means a lot. So on that note, we are going to wrap up today's show. We do have a pod tomorrow where we'll be getting into lots of things about the Avs and the playoffs. We also have tons of division previews. Even if you're not an Avs fan, we're previewing every single series in round 1. We'll be recording those and getting them out this weekend through to Tuesday when the Avs play. So we got plenty more content coming your way over the next 3-4 days. Stay tuned, and we love you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.